What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. Firstly, I have to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented on the last video that Jake was in. He loved it. He was proper made up with all the comments, and so loads of people commented as well. I'm from Florida, I'm from Australia. He was made up. Everybody at school has had to watch the video and go through the comments, and he keeps checking it every day to see if there's any more. So to everyone who commented, thank you very much for doing this. You didn't have to comment, but you did, and you made little man very happy, so thank you for that. I do appreciate it. What we do, I've got steel, look at that. What we're going to start doing now, I've done the box pan brake. Oh yeah, box pan brake's done. I knew there was something I've been working on. Yeah, box pan brake's done. The video's up in the Built Not Bought playlist. I've set up a separate playlist for any of the tools and stuff that I make, so that's over there. I'll put a little clicky thing, where does it go? Up here, a little clicky thing. You can go and check out the video and see how it was made, if you want to make one yourself or just have a good laugh. But it does work, and it's way cheaper than going out and buying one. Way cheap. There is a little bit of finicking that I've got to tweak with it, but it's basically sound. So now we've got that done, we can crack on with the electrics tray. That's what this is for. This is cold rolled steel, 1.5mm thick. Just to give you an idea on cost, because somebody did say that. 2 meters by 1 meter, cold rolled steel, 1.5mm thick, yours for 35 of your English pounds. So that's not too bad actually, and there's a truckload here, and we are going to need a fair bit. We've got basically it's all the underside of the seat and the underside of the tank, because remember I'm going to be chopping a big hole out of that as well. So that's what we're going to start making. Yeah, and I'm going to start with the easy bit first, the square bit in the middle. Right, so somewhere under here I've got my templates. Not that one, not that one. Is it that one? Could be that one. Right, so these were made don't need that. Yeah, so all we did was chomp these out. They are pretty rough, they're not exactly to size, but they're going to get us in the ballpark, I reckon. See, that's a little bit off, but we can use these to get the basic shape and the basic size, and then I'll trim it up as we go. So this is just going to get me there or thereabouts. What we're going to be doing is, imagine that but in metal. It's going to be set up underneath the seat frame, and I want it raised up a little bit, so it's going to be like, I don't know, 5mm, something like that. Not a massive amount, but enough that you can see the tubes underneath and then flat surface in between. And that's going to go all along there and then up underneath the tank as well. I did get Steve-O to have a serious think about lights for the rear, and we've got quite a cool idea which I think is going to work nicely. So all is, I've got him to, he's got like a round, about yay big, size of an aerosol can top sort of thing, just a round surface mounted light. And all we're going to do is, once we've got this bit bent up and that's all in place, we're going to stick a tube on the back, French it all in so the light is inset slightly, black the end off so we've got something solid to mount it to, and it will just be a round tail. I reckon that's going to look quite sweet actually. But this is the bit we need to get done. This is rusting like anything. This is where it's getting shot blasted, eh? So yeah, so that's going in there. That'll do to start. Right, mark it out. Right, so that gives us the basics. The basics. It's actually not that bad either. So that's a starter for 10. Which, you know, it's not a bad fit. But it is kind of flush with this, I think. Yeah, it's flush with the top. Okay. It's just easier to work from the top than it is the bottom. The underside's exactly the same as the top, so, you know, I'm doing it this way. So this is basically dead flush from the top of this tube, top of the plate, top of this tube. And what I want to do is to set it in very, very slightly. So what we're probably going to end up doing is just nipping the corners off to start off with, because obviously where I've ground it down, it's kind of rounded on the ends. So we're just going to take the corners off and round them off a little bit first up, then we'll offer it back up and see quite where we sit. I don't want to go just chomping it off, because otherwise I might go too far. Right. Yeah, it's dropped it down a tiny bit. Okay, so what essentially we need to do is to nibble a bit more off the sides so that this drops down even more. The radiuses look about right. If I put this side here, basically where I want it in this corner, like that. What sort of gap have we got there? I think it's about 5mm-ish, something like that. So that means, oop, this is quite close to the edge, so we're probably going to go about there, I would say. Yeah. So that's probably about as much as we need to take off-ish to get it to sit nicely widthways. So we'll do that one to start off with. It's going to be a little bit fiddly underneath because I've got this tube here as well, but we start off just by taking that off, round the edge over again, see where we sit, and then we'll have another go. Right then, so a little bit of fiddling about later, and this is what I've got. There's a couple of little gaps around because I've had to relieve the corners here to get past the tube where that comes down, and that gets past it. But then once it's in, it's good. Sits about 5mm up. So if you were to look at this from underneath, it would look something like that. So you get the round of the tube, then flat, then the round of the tube again, which is, I think it's going to look all right actually. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tack it in place on the inside, just to keep it all from moving and all that, you know, obviously get it level and get it square and blah 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 blah, which it basically is. It just fits in there nice. A couple little gaps here which I'll need to fill, but then I'll fully weld it on the inside, and then when we come to finishing up the frame, obviously everything's coming off the frame again, I'll be able to flip the frame upside down and then just fusion weld this bottom side with the TIG welder, so you get a nice smooth finish and it will tie in lovely. Essentially you just be using the weld on this side as your filler rod, and we'll just get a lovely smooth finish. So that's that one sorted. Right, so next bit. Another way of marking stuff out. I've got the templates over there and I could use them, but I thought I'd show you maybe a few different ways of marking the stuff out. So all this is just some A4 paper, which I'll tape down to where I need it. This is just going to give me a basic outline. I start off at 10. We know we're going to have to go a little bit smaller with it, which is cool. It's always better to have a bit more than you need, I suppose. So all we're doing is taping the paper to the frame just to try and stop it moving about too much. And I just want to get the shape of this front piece. So just an old bit of alley, and if you keep it flat but kind of go over the centre of the tubes. Where's the other one? There it is. You get quite a nice outline. Obviously we need to extend it forwards, and I'll probably give it an extra, I don't know, 20 mil, something like that, just because I want this piece to come halfway up this tube, but that will give me an outline. Can you see that? So we'll chomp that out, stick a bit on the end, and I'll cut it out of steel. This is obviously going to follow the high point of the tube. We're going to want to come inborn of that very slightly, so I can set it in the same as I did this section. So we'll start off there, offer it up, and then mark where we need to trim it up. That'll do. Right, so a little bit of faffing about later on. I've been trimming it up. Loads of rough edges on it. Initially we set it on the top like that. So you can see I've basically been trimming it down, just shaving away the edges, trying to follow the centre line of the tubes until you get it basically where you want. Now this is going underneath, and obviously these tubes come down at an angle, so I'm going to need to cut some off the back here. So these little notches here are just for the tubes that come down the side. So that's not a bad fit. It's just nibbling away at it really until you get it where you want it. And it comes up halfway up the tubes, which is cool. I might even snug that up just a little bit more. Yeah, and then if I mark this side of the tube, like that. So obviously that line is this side of this tube. We want to come up a bit, so realistically it's going to be about yay much. So from right there and right there. I'll probably go a little bit beyond that actually, because you can take metal off, but sticking it back on again is not always easy. So I'm going to come a little bit further. I'll probably double that distance, and I'll just keep sneaking up on it. I want to try and get these front corners in a bit better, just because I want it. Yeah, I need to take a little bit out of here. Yeah, a little bit more out of there. About like that, I would think. Something. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, that's better, look. Right, I've took a tiny amount off this. However, if you look here, my line that I've just drawn is now 5mm that way. So you have to just keep doing a little bit and then checking it and then refitting it, and then do a little bit more and then check it and refit it, and just keep on going until you get, what am I doing? The other way. Keep on going until you get basically where you need to be. That is lovely. That is going to do it. We still need to take some off the edges so it sits up, because at the minute it's not recessed. No, it's not recessed. So I'm going to take a little bit more off the sides before I chop down the overall length. A little bit on each side just so I can keep the shape. But yeah, that's it. Keep grinding. Right, so a bit of faffing, but well, actually quite a lot of faffing about. This is what I've got. It is a nice snug fit all the way around. It's just inside, which is cool, and it sort of matches how this one goes. Yeah, maybe a tad more. Tiny bit more. But by the time this is all put in and welded up, I'm thinking we could be there. Could be. Thing is, there is loads and loads and loads, and then some more walking to and from the bench with the grinder and then coming back and fitting it. So far I've been at this about half an hour. I think I probably still need to go a tiny bit more. I want it to be set in, like properly set in. So I'm going to shave a little bit more off it, I think. Then we'll trim the back up and we'll get it tacked in place. I'll tack this one here in place as well, so you start getting to see what's what. But that is pretty close. So some of you might have noticed I'm not bending up an electrics tray and setting it inside the frame like I was going to. That's because plans change. There we go. Right, what am I doing? So I've got these two sections made. One for in there, one for in there. They all match up really nice actually. If you look from underneath, there's the same amount of tube showing on both. So before I start doing the rear section and the front section, which is obviously where the battery's going to go, I'm just going to get these tacked in, which seems like a good idea to me. Get it the right way around. There we go. Happy days. So we'll tack these in. One less thing to worry about. And then we can carry on. Right, so the next piece is going to be this piece in here. The battery's actually going to fit in here as well, so I will need to make a box up and set it into it. But first up, I just want to get this backing plate sorted. It's a bit odd because he's got a big flaming dent in the bottom of this tube as well, which is annoying. That'll be alright, we'll come up to this very edge I think. But it's going to be tied into this plate, down the side tubes, across the top, down there, bosh. The whole thing is curved, which is going to make things interesting. Because I haven't got a roller. Right, probably the easiest way to start is with the paper trick. Rather than tape, you can just use magnets. And I've got some of these, if I can get them off, because they're really strong. Some of these rare earth magnets, they're tiny little things, but my god they're strong, really strong. So I picked up like, I don't know, 10 of them for a £5, something like that. Really cheap, but really, really, really strong. It's amazing how much these grip. Something like that, I'm thinking. Ooh, come on. Right. Okay, so if we again, this is on the top of the tube, following the centre line, so we know it's going to be oversized, but that will get us in the ballpark. So I can chomp this out of steel. Then I will probably bend it, and then I will trim it down. That makes sense. Let's do that. I haven't got a set of sheet metal rollers, and I need to get this curved that way so that fits in nicely with the frame. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'll either be doing it in the vise, which the vise isn't actually that wide, or I might clamp it to the desk and try and get it shifted that way. I haven't got anything I can bend it round either. I haven't got, you know, like a big piece of pipe or something like that would have been ideal. I haven't got one of them, so I'm having to improvise. Probably be all right though, I would imagine. We shall see. Right, so all I want to do is, this I know is my straight edge, so if I can get it bent in line with that straight edge, come on, then that'll be a starter for 10. So all I'm going to do here is mark out equal spaces, and it's going to have to be done in a series of small bends, and I'll just keep chomping away and bending it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, until we sort of get where we need to be. Don't really know if this is going to work, but we'll give it a go. Because the whole thing has got a curve to it, there's no straight bit to this at all. And the worry that I've got is the ends. Because that is not a lot to hold on to. In the middle, in the middle. Right, so if I can get a series of really small bends in each of those, I'm thinking it's going to have to be really gradual though, that's the thing. I wish I had something round I could bend it over. Have I not got anything? No. Right, so I could clamp this down to the edge of the desk. Get some leverage behind it and give it a little tweak. That could work, but like I say, the only worry is the very edges of it, because that's not a lot to hang on to and it's not a lot to grab hold of and bend either. Or I could do it in the box pan brake, but I think we're going to get to, you know, some real definite lines. Alright, let's give it a go. Box pan brake. Let's break out Brenda. Right. Brenda's first dance. So named thanks to, is it Paul Foster? He came up with the name Brenda the Bender, so Brenda the Bender it is. Very funny. Right. The worry that I've got here is that the folds are going to be too defined. And I only want to put a little bit into it really, it's not even going 90 degrees, it's going like, I don't know, 75, 70 degrees maybe. But we shall give it a whirl. So if I can get a little bit of a bend in each time on each of those lines, hasn't got to be absolutely cock on, but it does need to be close. Cool, right, so I took off some more of the powder coat on the frame, because obviously this is going to need to be tacked in, and I've just gone over this lightly with a DA. I don't know if you can see this in the light. Can you see the lines in it? So this is obviously where it's gone through the bender, and I'll put loads of little bends in to get like a curve to it. I'm not fussed about it on this piece because this is going in here, you're going to have the engine in here, it's right up underneath it, you're not going to see the top of it, tank goes on there. But it was the only way really of grabbing hold of a really thin edge, you know, thin bit of material to be able to get the bends into it. It's not the best way to do it, and I'm not going to be able to do that when I come to do the back section because that needs to be dead smooth, so we'll have to figure something else out for that. However, that goes in there a treat. Look at that. I knew today was going to be a good day. Right, there is tiny little gap here, that's fine, not bothered about that. I'll be able to seal that up with weld, but that is how it's going to go. It's nice and square across the bottom here. I've got a little lip, but that's cool because it gives me something to weld into, and then I can just grind it off. And it's only about 2 or 3 mil, that's fine. The curves are, yeah, the curves are the same on both sides. That'll do. I'm happy with that. The battery, if you remember, is going to sit in a tray, and that's going to be inset into this. Bosh. So I'm not going to tack this in yet because I think what I want to do at the weekend is make the tray up for this, make sure it all fits, there's a bit of wiggle room and, you know, a bit of airflow around it. I can weld the box up, I can plonk it on here and mark where I need to chop this plate out. Basically I'll put it square on there with the rule down here, and I'll mark wherever it lands on this plate. Then I can take this out, chop out the hole, but more importantly I can just put this box where it's going to be, because I'll mark the frame up here and get it all level and stuff, and then I can come upwards and mark the underside of the tank where I need to chop the hole out the bottom of that. So there's no point in tacking this in yet, because if I tack it in place I'm not going to be able to get anything in there with the tank on top to mark the underside of the tank. So for now I'm calling that done, because there's no point. It does look good though, that is, I'm pleased with that. It's fiddly getting in the corners though, I'll tell you that for nothing. Right, so next job is going to be the the very rear. That's the last piece I've got to do. It does have a curve in it, and I'm not going to do it in the same way as this. How am I going to do that without anything to bend it round? Right, I need a cup of tea. Laters.